All right, we are live. We decided to do something different. Start off with a rounding version of On the Ball City recorded off of YouTube. So this is now podcast number 6, and we have our special guest, the Brazilian Canary, Lucas La Torre.
It's a pleasure being here. Always pretty good being with other Norwich fans around the world. And I have to say one thing: it's really difficult for a Brazilian say "America Canaries" in a natural way. On the ball, city.
Yeah, well, I had trouble the first couple times I was on the fan zone. Um, uh, I said American Canaries instead of AmeriCanaries. The first time I was there, the host Ian, I forgot his name. He goes, "That's brilliant," And then
Yeah.
Jeff and Mark came up with it, And then I apologized to them for not giving them the credit because I was so focused on saying that I was representing them. I was and we and our members, and that we sponsored the women's 4 members of the women's team and the Canaries Trust. I want to make sure I got that all in, all my shout outs. All right, so joining us, we have, as usual, Mark Foster, the founder of AmeriCanaries, and Jeff Ewick has joined us again. Many of you know Jeff from the Canary magnets or the Canary globe stickers. I'm holding up a globe sticker.
By the way, I love those stickers. I
Yeah,
love them.
the globe stickers, and I have the magnet. I think it's over here. I can reach it.
The canary on top of the globe.
Yeah, canary on top of the ball. Yeah,
I love that one too.
Oh,
I have so
both
many
of
other
those
things.
designs
It's
were
really
Mark's.
great.
That's Mark's brainchild right there. Both of those.
Yeah, that's kind of
Mark is the genius behind
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
I put my marketing degree to use finally.
Yeah.
Marketing degree. Yeah. And
My
here's
special skill is stuffing envelopes.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. No, don't ever put your magnet next to the computer. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Degauss the screen.
Yeah. Well, it's as Mark knows, I have a engineering degree and a business degree, and Mark has God knows how many degrees, plus an interesting history in a variety of different sports. So this is podcast number 6. Podcast number 5 was What the Fark. Past What the Fark. It's now, hey, we have a new manager. So his name, for those of you hopefully know, his name is Dean Smith. As I was telling the guys earlier, it is not the same Dean Smith who was a legendary basketball coach at University of North Carolina, because that Dean Smith indeed has passed away. And I must say that I was in his presence. God, I was at Maryland for 5 years, and I think I attended every North Carolina game against Maryland. So I'd say at least 5 times, possibly more, that I got the chance to boo him in person. A variety of other things, but very well thought of, and a legend in coaching circles. Let's hope that Norwich's Dean Smith somehow becomes a legend in Norwich management circles. So Lucas is the Brazilian Canary, and he comes to us from Sao Paulo or Brasilia. Which?
I'm from Rio de Janeiro, the hottest city in the world.
Okay. Gotcha. Because so he's from Rio. So Lucas mentioned that he did something with the Olympics, which is kind of cool. Did you also do something when the World Cup was there? Were you involved in any way, shape, or form?
No, in the World Cup, I was just starting my college, but during the Olympics was my first job, a real job. We kind of say here, because we need to work with people of many parts of the world. It was my first time speaking English with other people in real life. Yeah, we kind of say. and was a really great experience because we need to do everything in English, and I never in my life have some experience like that. So was really great. Was my first real job to receiving payment. That was most
There you
important.
Yeah.
But was really great. I was just a teenager, so was really a good first step.
Awesome. So don't the Olympics, isn't it like English and then like English, French, and the host country's language? Isn't that what they do the announcements in?
Yeah.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. When I was working there, was the obligation that we have is everything speaking, writing, everything all in English. But there is some parts where there is people that only speak French, and some other language more specific, like Japanese or
Mhm.
Chinese. So it's kind of more. We have parts areas, specific areas for some specific places that we need to talk in another language than English. But in my part, in my area, was English the obligation.
Interesting. Okay, so Lucas, your club team that you root for is, and how is that connected to your fandom for Norwich?
So my club here in Brazil is Flamengo. Is a club from Rio de Janeiro. It's a red and black club. uh, really great colors in my view. And there is many things about Flamengo that connect my club here in Brazil, with my club in England, that is Norwich. First of all, the silhouette of the badge of Flamengo is the same silhouette of Norwich badge. That is a similarity that I didn't know when I started to support Norwich City. I didn't know that. I was not because of that I start supporting Norwich. Also, the two clubs have a bird as their mascot. Norwich has a canary, and Flamengo has a vulture. So there is other connection. And the main thing that I love to talk about these two clubs is the fans. Norwich fans and Flamengo fans, that there is so much in common. My first match of Norwich City supporter, watching Norwich on TV, of course, was against Man United, when Norwich win that match by 2-0. And was just a normal game in Premier League. Okay, we are playing against Man United. We need to survive in Premier League, but was just a round of Premier League. But the celebration at Carroll, the atmosphere there, was like the Flamengo fans here in Brazil celebrating a normal game in our Brazilian football league. So these kind of things, that is kind of roller coaster. You know, we Norwich fans sometimes 2 weeks ago we are so depressed, desperate. Oh my God, what is happened now with a victory and a new manager? We are making thoughts about how we'll be surviving and who will be the other clubs that will be relegated, that will be not us. And we start to guess: Newcastle, Burnley, Watford. What will be not Norwich, the relegated one? We kind of like that roller coaster. So that roller coaster of emotions that it's better to say. I think it's something that Flamengo fans and Norwich fans is so equal. And Flamengo in Brazil lives a other moment. Flamengo here in Brazil is one of the greatest clubs here in Brazil. The most important player, of the legendary player of Flamengo, is Zico. If the people that is listening don't know the story, and Zico is called the White Pelé here in Brazil. So there is so much connection of Brazilians with this player too. But Flamengo here in Brazil lives another moment. They are fighting for titles, Libertadores, that is our Champions League, playing for Copa do Brasil, that is our cup, national cup,
Mhm.
and Brazilian Football League that Flamengo is in the second place now. So it's other moment, other situation. So Flamengo fans now is in the top, and Norwich fans are in the top, but with other kind of feelings, trying to survive, and Flamengo is more calm situation.
Now, big difference is that flamenco plays in the Maracana, which is
Yeah.
a world famous football stadium, and Carrow Road not so much. No
But I
offense.
have to say, mate, something about Carroll reminds me the old Maracana, because there is some spirit on the Carroll. I'm not against modernization, nothing like that. I think that is important. But when they modernize the Maracana, I think they lost a little bit of soul there, because the prices go so high and many other things that the more roots fans, the fans that grow with the club,
Mhm.
they are not so blessed with money to be paying tickets to watching out the matches. In Brazil, there is another system to pay to watch your team in the stadium. It's not like the season ticket holder. It's not nothing like that. So it's more difficult because it's so expensive to you watching every match. So it's kind of feel like lost a little bit of soul there, because these fans with have not much money to be always in the stadium. They are the most louder fans, but in Carroll Road, when you go, is always the same. Yeah, like I was watching on TV or being in the stadium against Sheffield Wednesday in 2019, was the explosion that I was expecting, was the atmosphere, was the chanting, was everything like I always imagined, and it was really a dream being there in Carroll Road.
To me, when I watch, what's always impressed me, not only how loud and enthusiastic the fans are, you don't see empty seats. And other other clubs that claim they're the Aston Villa. You see lots of empty seats. I would always, people would go, "Oh, Villa's big." Like I'm always seeing empty seats at Villa Park, Norwich, Carrow Road. You don't see empty seats. They're filling up. I would say the attendance is probably for normal matches. Not like early round of FA Cup or something against a smaller team. The normal matches, it's probably within 500. The attendance, whatever the number is, it's probably plus or minus 500 for all the normal matches. So I've always been very impressed with the attendance, how enthusiastic everybody um, appears to be, and they all seem well behaved from what I can tell. Although I have learned from some of the female fans that I follow that's not necessarily true, but the club has really taken steps to stop that and identify the jerks who are doing that, which is great. And the fact that the club does that, is outstanding. So it's really interesting. So can you give us one of your favorite matches of the past, and then some of your favorite players?
Okay, well, starting for the favorite players, Holt and Houlihan was the two players that makes me love even more Norwich. Holt is my favorite player of all time of Norwich. I study a lot of Norwich story and try to know more about the
Mhm.
history of the club. Think about Gavin or Alcock and many others that make our club what it is. But Holt and Houlihan, for me, they are my roots of Norwich. They bring me up with Norwich to the Premier League, since League One in 2009 to Premier League in 2011 was really nostalgic. It's really nostalgic to me to remember those players playing for us. And there is others like Adam Drury, Russell Martin, um, and for players of today like Tim Crew. I love Tim Crew. Timo Pukki. I was a little upset with Buendia, but there is no way to say that Buendia was crucial for us too. So those are my favorite players. And the favorite matches, well, I never saw Norwich lose to Ipswich Town, so you can imagine how happy I am.
Back
I
back
can
over
pick,
my shoulder. I don't know if you can see. That's like the
yeah.
only thing that I have. That is a poster. Guy, I forgot who put that out. That celebrates 10 years of not losing to Ipswich. Those are all silhouettes of the goal scorers. So was it that did early last year, or so I paid a ridiculous amount of money to have that frame. But that's like the only thing that I have on the wall. I have things from Norwich, like the room I'm in. It's like my office mini museum. So I have stuff for University of Maryland, stuff for the Baltimore Orioles, some stuff for the Ravens, and then some stuff for baseball in general. I'm not going to give you a tour, but I'm out of wall space now. I have no place to put anything else, here because I've had, so many things decorated. Like, behind me, is let's go this way. That's like a Leroy Neiman thing. It's like a poster, and I just have a variety of different things. So, but that's the only thing. Oh, by the way, if you guys can see that, like my head sticking up in the back under the cabinet, that is a
Yeah.
cutout for me from the University of Maryland basketball last year. You can see a little bit better. So that's we paid for cutouts. So I was one of the cutouts. So but so not losing to Ipswich. So I have that. I forgot where I got it from. It's really, really high quality print. That's glossy. I said, let's get that framed and put that up. I was really happy how that turned out.
And you need to update it because when we arrive at 20 years without losing to them, you need to have a new one.
Yeah, I forgot where I got it. I'd have to look at the tube, but it's one of those. I opened it because I was, wow, this is really, really nice. And I was cleaning up my office at some point in time in the last year or so. Hey, I have this. Let's get this frame. And the normal place where I took the frame, the guy closed up his shop, so I couldn't go. And I like going because his name was Ken. I like going to Ken to get Ken's framing done, which was kind of cool. Yeah, so Holt and Houlihan is the favorite of lots of people. I know when we had David Lamb and Matt Roberts, they skewed to some of the older players who I never saw play because they grew up with that. The same sort of thing. If you were a fan of my baseball team, and I said, oh, some of my favorite players were guys who played, in the 1970s for the Baltimore Orioles, you wouldn't know who they were. You might go, oh, Cal Ripken, Mark Wood, that might be the frame of reference, just because of how old somebody is. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, so I think Holt and Houlihan that was a heck of a combination there.
Yeah,
and
I miss a lot.
You had a little bit of that with Buendia and Pukki.
Yeah,
but Puki's a certainly different player than Grant Holt. With the way he plays, and Holt with his larger body, and as what did I say? Mark said it that Puki's never headed a ball in his life.
Did I say that?
Or someone said that. Yes, I mentioned that.
Yeah, I think Grant Holt is more like a traditional number 9 here in Brazil. We love to call that. He is like with less technique, but he's more like a hurricane than Pukki. Pukki is more a player that goes to the side, likes to sometimes pass the ball. Holt is more a physical player that receives the ball and score. He's more a classic one, and he almost was into the English team. It's really unfortunate that they choose Lombard in that time for pick the number 9 hole in their English team. But Houlihan with Grant Holt was so perfect. They know each other so well. it's really amazing to remember some moments of those two players that Buendia and Timo Pukki kind of remembers me too. These two players playing together, but Brazilians can't be in love with Argentines because you know what happened. They leave, and when Buendia the departure Norwich was really sad for me because I really was expecting Buendia and Tim Pukki being together like Holt and Hulahan. That was my objective, but of course I can decide for them. And it's a common debate here in Brazil with the other Brazilian Canaries that how could be or which one is better, Holt and Hulahan, Pukki or Buendia? And I always say Holt and Hulahan because they make Norwich stay in the Premier League.
Right, they prove themselves more in the Premier League than Pukki and Buendia. Pukki and Buendia, but Buendia had like the skill level. Sometimes he'd be like, "Whoa, did you see that?"
He's amazing.
Some of the things that he did versus Houlihan was just solidly, wow, look at that. Oh, it was just incredible. I don't know if Houlihan had many that were like, whoa, did you see that? Buendia had some of that. And then Holt, with his ability, out there and his, I guess the mindset, sort of like I always thought like all great athletes need to be arrogant in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I understand.
Can't be humble. You have to all have to have some arrogance. They have to know, I'm going to do it and you're not going to stop me.
Yes, I agree with you.
Holt definitely had that. I don't necessarily get that sense from Pukki that
me too.
I'm going to get a goal and
Pukki's so cold. Pukki is so cold. In the celebration, I didn't see some reaction from him. He's always just looking straight to the camera with no emotion and celebrating in his way. I'm trying to act like in the camera, but if you are just listening, I think you listener, I think you can imagine Timo Pukki just looking at you with no emotion, but celebrating the goal. That's really funny because for me it's so strange. And here in Brazil, we are so emotional with the things because a goal, we almost rip off the shirts to celebrate. And we missed this in Timo Pukki, but sometimes he's really great for us. And I think the difference between Houlihan and Buendia is Houlihan here in Brazil, as we call, he's the classic number 10, as Holt is the classic number 9. Houlihan has glue on his foot. He can pass 1, 2, 3, 4 players and score. But Buendia, he has the vision. He can, with one touch, decides the game. He can, like Millwall against Norwich at Carrow Road. He and Timo Pukki make this 1-2 passes, and Pukki score 2 times like that, and decides the game with 2 passes. So I think that's the genius of Buendia. He has the vision. He knows where the player will be when he will pass. So. And Houlihan, I think, scored more goals than Buendia for Norwich, I think. So there is that other point, too. And
hi, Jeff Stogg. Jeff Stogg is now on the screen. Yeah, when Buendia was criticized for not scoring enough goals. And Houlihan, that didn't seem to be an issue. But I think you're right, Lucas, said that, Houlihan was more of your classic number 10. And now I believe then Buendia is struggling at Villa, trying to fulfill that role that he really can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, he really can't. So he was played. I don't know. Maybe that'll be an interesting question for one of the Norwich journalists to ask Dean Smith. So what about Buendia, man? He didn't. He was so successful. How come you didn't have him play in the same role? That would be something that I would ask someone like Michael Bailey would probably ask that type of question and
Yeah,
be able to get away with it. Yeah, after he knows him a little bit.
I think I think they was trying in Aston Villa to have a plan B for Grealish if they departure. That what is happening.
Right.
He goes to Man City, but Buendia is the one to play at the side of the field, not
Right.
in the middle, creating clinical moments. But
Yeah.
he can do it. But he needs to change his way to play, or Gerrard now has to put him in his original role.
Yeah, I mean, Grealish, I know it was the most fouled player in the Premier League last year.
Something like that.
He could physically, he could deal with it. He was strong enough. He was, I guess, bold enough, not afraid of constantly, being slashed and whatever. And he's a larger guy too. He's physically a larger guy.
Yeah.
So that worked better for him in that role. Buendia is shorter.
And Buendia is like me. It's
Okay.
my same size. And I really know what you're trying to say, because it's really difficult. You're being followed every time. You're being marked.
Right.
You can have the speed to try to create or movements, but sometimes you will be tired just to be marked. And that for a creative player is terrible, because you have no options to create or to avoid.
Right. Okay, so we have a new manager. What do you guys think? Because I had some points here, but I want to hear what everyone thinks, because my points are basically made by Darren Eady this morning, which was, and I had no idea he was going to be on the show. I was like, oh, it's Darren Eady. Okay, cool. Then they put me on the same screen. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is a good day. I was pleasantly. I also learned that Eady was like on every broadcast today.
I'm sure he was.
He was on BBC Norfolk. He was on Talk Norwich City. You name
great.
everything. Canary Call. He was on everything today. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So go ahead. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll start. I'm happy with it. I don't know how much to read into the journey of ending up with Dean Smith. I mean, I've heard different things, and I don't want to rehash any of that. I'm happy we have a manager. Every night going to bed, waking up, okay, we're gonna have a manager when I get up in the morning. We're gonna have a manager when I get up and it kept not happening. And that was okay. We got one by today, and that was what mattered. And
Correct.
I like what he's been able to do for them. Hopefully he can do that with less budget, because he's going to have less budget than he had when he brought him up, when he brought Villa up last time around.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got someone with some proven experience. We've got someone who is in the league right now, and I don't know that you can understate that, because he has been around the league. He's seen what the league's got to offer. Farka, bless his heart, is up, he's down, he's up, he's down. He doesn't see necessarily. I mean, I don't know what's going on in the back room with scouting, your future opponents and everything, for the next year, and things change. And, but, Dean Smith has been there, and he's seen that, and he's seen some opponents this year that we haven't yet. And hopefully he can use that to our advantage. I mean, I kind of wonder if that's where one of those, bounces can come from sometimes. Well, this manager has just gone from team A to team B, but he's seen all these other teams so far. Mm-hmm. Let's use that to our advantage and nick some points here and there.
I totally agree with you, Mark. And there is another point that Dean Smith already won against Southampton, right? He win the match, Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So he knows how Southampton play. He knows what works against them. So there is a really good point to start off. And like you said, he have a a story that good he proved himself. He proved that he can take a championship club and make them stay in the Premier League, like
Right.
Aston Villa. And this little detail we cannot see in Lampard's job, because he started at Derby County. Has not a long period of time there, and so then he just appeared at Chelsea, and the fans, by pressure, I think was what made him being sacked of Chelsea. So it's more a guess than a really proven manager. I know that Lampard has his contacts, and for Norwich in marketing in general, it could be great because it's Lampard there. So I don't know. To be honest, I think was the most great thing about all the situation was Lampard rejecting us and opening space to Dean Smith arrive, because he passed me more security than Lampard. And thank God Lampard was honest, saying that he can't take the job. He could not say it, but sounds like that, because he sounds that he is not prepared. He sounds like he was afraid to be relegated with Norwich,
Mhm.
and it being a negative mark in his career.
Yeah, I sensed that too. I also thought that Norwich was a club below him. It's not a big enough club. It's not a club that has, won enough. It doesn't have enough, um, history, tradition of winning overall. I got the sense that he didn't want to be tied. Oh, I came in, I tried, I failed. Wow, now I'm not going to get another job for a while because I wasn't able to, save a club with all my magic. I don't think he wants it. I think he wants to go into a situation where he knows it's a strong club with a winning tradition that has strong players, that he knows that he's not in a relegation scrap. And also, I don't know if anything had to do with the fact where Norwich is physically located in England. I don't know if that plays into it. It's, there's not a whole lot of other clubs around. It's not as cosmopolitan or metropolitan as other places he's used to. So maybe, it didn't fit the Frank Lampard view of, where he wanted to live. But, I said that it was, when I was on Friday, I said it was a sexy choice, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because then the host, who's the same host today, called me a sexy man. So, my wife is loving that. It's like, hello, sexy man. It's like, I didn't know he was going to say that. I was like, okay, I'll take that. I had to look him up. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? So it was rather humorous. But, it was the flirting with Lampard was interesting. I just didn't think he was going to come. It's like in baseball where there's teams like, wow, this would be really great if we could sign this free agent. And you're like, he's not going to sign there. He's, some of the players that a team might be interested in, they're just not going to sign because the team either doesn't win, they don't like the physical location, or or something. You just know what's a good fit and what's not a good fit. So I was pleasantly surprised that he was talked about so much, but not surprised that ultimately he decided, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. And then they went with Dean Smith, and was it Weber said it was his first choice? Well, that's can't be true because he still had a job when Fark was canned. So it can't be true, but I don't know, maybe he thought he was going to be sacked and was hoping. I don't know, maybe he had some inside information, but still. But I'm also surprised that Knutson didn't really have a run. Was it the Knutson still had a contract through January or something?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that the issue?
that was what I had heard early on, and then we just never really heard anything more. And then the Lampard rumors got stronger and stronger, and
Right.
our attention just kind of went in that direction. So, but I think that was probably a big part of it was as if we'd gotten him, we wouldn't have been able to get him till January. And that wasn't going to work.
Right. It wasn't going to work. You're not having a caretaker manager for a month and a half
Yeah.
doesn't work, especially the festive season or whatever. Where, God, I'm because 1 year it was like 12 points available. Norwich got 1 or 0.
There's been a few of those.
Yeah, and that's just so frustrating. And then it was a couple of years ago. I think maybe when their championship, when they won the first time under Fark, I think they got all 12 or something, which is, a big difference. So I was concerned, what was going to happen with those matches coming, so quick. Next year with the World Cup, they're not playing for like 6 weeks.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's going to have to be a lot of midweek matches.
I was looking at. I haven't looked at that in a whole lot of detail. Now they say they're only starting the season a little bit early, and then they said August 6th. Well, we've started the season on August 6th.
Right.
We had the in 2015 we had the Palace game on August 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So just thinking back and where I was that day listening to the game on the road. So I mean, to me, August 6th is not any earlier.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's going to be some weeknight games, and how are they going to reconcile that with European action? I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know how long the season is going to last. Well, maybe because there is the World Cup, that the international breaks maybe don't exist.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe your 6 weeks of the World Cup take up all those 6 weeks of the because for all the international breaks, maybe that's sort of how it works. I'd have to look at the calendar, but it was interesting to see. All right, so Jeff, what's your take on not Mr. North Carolina coach Dean Smith?
I haven't read much about it. I'm still just not too happy about the whole situation. If I'm honest, I haven't met Daniel Farke in Tampa. I'm a little tied to him, right? And it just doesn't seem that. I don't know. You talk about giving a guy a chance, and then you go with a coach that just is coming out of a team that sacked him for the same reason they say we sacked Farke. He's not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. We want to survive the Premier League. I don't know, but I don't like change anyway. So, and I'm dealing with my local club here, sacked the manager as well, or should I say, parted ways. Okay, so I've got 2 teams with now 1 manager. I don't know, but I also know that I don't have anything to say about it. They didn't ask me. They certainly didn't call me and ask me what I thought about it. And like everyone else is coming around. What do? You can like it. You can not like it. You can find something to argue about. You can find something to dislike. But I'm just ready for the break to be over. I'm ready for them to kick off against Southampton and get the rest of the season going.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, all the rumors and everything. I lost my mind a little bit about Frank Lampard because he was absolutely not going to be okay. He's not going to be okay at Norwich. And, but yeah, like I said, I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season. It'll be interesting to see what changes come. And I'm really looking forward to them finding the best in the players and the changes, right? Invariably, there'll be some changes. Are they going to stay in the same positions? Is Smith going to try something different pairings? Are we going to see some of the players who were, for whatever reason, out of favor with Farke come back into the team? I saw someone, I don't remember who it was, someone was saying, bring Onel Hernandez back from loan. I saw someone post that. I think it was on Twitter somewhere. And I said, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like a lot Juan Hernandez style of play. We miss that. We need some. It's not Brazilian, but it's kinda. It's the style that Brazilians like to play.
Mhm.
yeah,
Dribbling, running to the side, causing some chaos to the defense, and we miss that in Norwich.
yeah.
And about the changes of that maybe Dean Smith will bring to the players and the formation, I think looking for what he did at Aston Villa, maybe he will try to play us with a 4-2-3-1 with Cantwell bringing back into the team,
Mhm.
putting to the side, and as a winger, of course, and in the middle, I think not as defensive midfielder, but I think as in some way of making the number 10 role. I think maybe we can see Gilmore there, and I, a double of players that I need to see how they will perform together is two defensive players in the midfield. Norman, that is almost our playmaker today,
Right.
which is funny, and Sorensen. One thing that Fark drives me crazy that he do not put Sorensen as a defensive midfielder. And sometimes in the beginning of this season in the Premier League, he puts Gilmore as defensive midfielder, and it's not his function.
Right.
And I think this little mistake cost much for Fark, and it's really difficult to change a manager that has a status of legend in Norwich. I think Fark is one of the greatest managers of Norwich, if I'm not mistaken. If we can see numbers and things like that, I think Fark has his place in Norwich story. And but sometimes I think hard as it can be, we need to change. Sometimes the change is what clicks things off and to snap. I think is the correct word, and the players start to put themselves together and hey, we need to be together to make it works. uh, in Brazil, sometimes we have teams, great teams, like uh, I don't know how much you know the Brazilian football, but clubs like Cruzeiro, Grêmio, Vasco, Botafogo are great teams in Brazil. Those four teams are in the second division. Grêmio is in the first division, but will be relegated. So those clubs has some philosophy that need to change, and if they didn't change, they go to the second division.
Mhm.
And sometimes this little change what make things change and for better, like Corinthians go to the second division, they they change everything, and they won the World Clubs Cup against Chelsea 4 years after they got relegated. So some things needs harder as it can be needs to change because
Mhm.
sometimes only just stop to work. And I know how you feel, Jeff. It's really hard to see Far going away of Norwich. I have a photo with him. I speak with him. I told him, I want you to be or Sir Alex Ferguson of Norwich. I say that to him. He was just renewing Norwich to the first time, and when I told him that, he said to me, but I just renewed the contract. I said back, I know, but I want you to renew again. So it was really funny this conversation with he's so calm, so speechless sometimes, and I think we need someone that will scream more. Frank Lambert maybe was this guy, but sometime will be not. I think the money is one thing that makes Lampard will not want to be Norwich because he knows when the transfer window arrives, He will not be able to contract any player that he wants, like it was in Chelsea. So maybe it was that. Norwich is not a bigger club for me, but he is only a ex-player. He was a player, a former
Mhm.
player. Norwich is bigger than any player, any manager. In Brazil, we really believe in that. Our club is bigger than any person that is in the club. So if I almost say Paul Lambert, if Frank Lampard thinks that Norwich is not bigger for him, sorry, you lose. Go away. I do prefer Dean Smith that takes the job and don't question it. Hey, let's do it. I like that. And Norwich needs that guy that has some personality to say, let's do it. Paul Lambert, back then in 2011, 2012, he has his characteristics, he has his personality, but that sometimes help us to win games because he say, hey, you don't wake up, we'll be relegated. Come on, guys. Not in that delicate way that like I said, but
Right.
with some more passion,
Yeah.
not
Like
kind words.
the top managers, in
Yeah.
the world, they all have that. Like you can watch Pep and Jordan Jurgen Klopp lose their mind at
Yeah.
little things, but they win because they're perfectionists and they want this and they
Yes.
emphasize it. Mourinho, tried to do that with Tottenham. These two guys now. I also follow Tottenham. I have Tottenham things in this room. I'm not going to show you that, but there's Tottenham items in, in,
Thank you.
in, in the room. So Mourinho tried to toughen them up, and like the expectations. You have to do this. You have to, the, basically, it's like you have to. I have expectations, and you haven't met them, and I'm just very angry at you because you can do better, and you need to do better, and I'm urging you to do better, and I'm either going to be nice about it or a gigantic jerk or have histrionics on the sideline, but they win. They get the best out of their players. When I found out that Klopp was coming to Liverpool, I was not happy. I hate Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool is owned by the Boston Red Sox people. I hate the Red Sox. Okay, so they're one and the same. Man U to me, was, why would I be a Man U fan? That would be like willingly choosing the Yankees, as your baseball team. And so there's some, but you're right. There has to be, you know, there have to be some sort of arrogance, jerkiness, just being a mean SOB to tell them you have to do it. Fark was too nice when they, wouldn't get stuff. He'd look disappointed, but it was almost, they're young, they'll get it. Okay, we'll get the next match or whatever. You never got the sense that he went into the locker room and just screamed at them, and said,
Well, let's be
"You
honest.
guys are, you
Let's be
guys are."
honest. His
Go ahead.
voice is very, very almost timid.
Yeah, it's
I
very
mean,
soft.
and it was that soft voice. I mean, you
Right.
think, okay, we got this big German coach, and he looks like a Bond villain, and then you get that voice, and there's a bit of a disconnect there. And I've heard that more than once from other journalists that cover the game. It's like it's almost offsetting to some degree, and maybe he was too nice.
Yeah, when I was younger, like I was speaking with you guys before the podcast started,
Mhm.
I was a football player, but in the young categories, in the under 15, under 17, and there is three types of manager that I work with. The one that is like your father, he's totally emotional, totally emotional. He will scream. He will say, "You need to do that. You need to do that." To every player has a function, and you have to do it because he will scream you during all the game. But when you got in the halftime, He will be not pointing in your face and nothing like that. He will say, "Hey, guy, how are you? Or how was the game? No, don't worry, things will be great. You are doing your job." Of course, if you are losing, he will say, "Come on, guys, we need to wake up." So there is that emotional manager.
Right.
There is other type of emotional manager that is the jerk one that you was describing. He was just saying bad words all the game and make everyone uh, pissed off with his words. That manager don't work for a long
Right.
time. He can get results, but long time is
Right.
not for him. And in the end, you have the intelligent manager. Fark for me is that one. That is one timid, but with the pre-match stuff, with his tactical things that he probably say to the club and to the team at all, you convince the players that whoa, this man he knows what he doing. He really great, and look, makes totally sense what he explained to us. Let's do it. Will work. So when becomes the halftime, if you were winning, okay, no words, keep the job, go. If we are losing, he will say, "Hey, remember what we talk before the match? Come on, guys. I know you are young. I know you are this and that, but remember what we stood for the match."
Mhm.
It sometimes don't work because in the halftime you need to put the motivational side for the players, and I think Fark sometimes he probably struggle with players that have more personality in the background of the football. We don't know what happened with him and Cantwell. It's always make me think why Cantwell is not in our club
Yeah.
playing matches. And looks like he was not the best to work with those players that has more personality because he do not has that father figure in him to say to the player, "Hey guy, come on, let's talk. Oh, this happening. Oh, okay, let's think about how we can solve these things. Okay, and then you sort things out. For Frank, I think you need to follow my philosophy. If you are not understanding it, sorry, but you need to go. It's not like so rigid,
Mhm.
so like that. But I'm in my mind, I try to interpret things like that.
That's probably a good interpretation. I like your take on that, Lucas, because I mean, no one really understands why Cantwell is out. Darren Eady, that was the first thing he mentioned today, is got to put Cantwell back in the team. I've said that numerous times. He also
Yeah,
mentioned Billy Gilmore. Cantwell gives you the pace and creativity and like energy and want. The he wants to be there. He's a local guy. He wants to play for the club. The fans want to support him, and him not being part of the first team is just bizarre. So I fully expect him to be selected. I don't know if he'll start, but I think he'll definitely be part of the team. Will Gilmore be? I have no idea. I mean, I don't have a clue. But you made an interesting point about Sorensen. Has he played at all this year?
I think not. I think he played once at League Cup when we won
Wow.
5 or 6-0.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he played in the cup. He was named to
Yeah.
the team, but never subbed in.
Wow.
I can't remember. I can't remember when.
Yeah, I'd almost forgot. He was on the team. So some of the players, that give you the pace, just weren't playing.
Yeah,
It was just like uh, non-existent. You need the guys out there like the U.S. versus Mexico game. I don't know who. Did anybody see that?
I caught most of it.
Okay.
Although on my phone, because I had a
That was
football.
played at a really fast rate. That was very attacking, aggressive soccer that was being played. And the US won because they were aggressive and they were fast. They had the pace. And that's why they won. Norwich needs that ability. The more I watch, you definitely need, you need not just a skill level, but you need the pace to just totally uh, overwhelm somebody. That's how some of these teams, win. Man City, Liverpool, when they're killing people, the other team is like, hey, slow up. They're just blowing past everybody. So the U.S. was able, to do that. They basically out hustled Mexico and won the game. I haven't seen Norwich do that often. Some of the lower championship teams, yeah, Premier League when they upset Man City. Of course, I didn't watch that game live. I forgot what was going on. That was competing against something else. I didn't watch it live. Then when I found that, I was like, "What?" I thought they were just going to get drubbed.
Well, they beat Leicester that year, and
Mhm.
they beat Spurs. So I mean, they had some moments here and there that season. One thing I'm going to bring up, and then I'm going to have to call it a night. And it was actually you, Jeff, that popped this in my mind when you talked about Anil Hernandez, the idea of maybe bringing him back. Who is the soul of this club right now? It was Tete.
Right.
I think. I think we can agree on that. It was Tete, and Tete. It was time, for him. He wanted to go back, and I think he would have his role here would have been very limited, but he still could have had a very strong clubhouse role.
Right.
Would Hernandez get on the pitch, every single game, 90 minutes? No, but he can be that rally guy, that guy at Colney. He could be the soul of the club. I think, because I don't know who it is right now. We've brought in so many new guys.
Mhm.
It's not Pookie. Pookie's too stoic.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Timu. Cantwell maybe, but I don't know right now.
Yeah,
Just
I
because
think
he's up in the air. The club does not have a soul right now, and I think that's part of what shows up in the results.
Yeah, the club.
Yeah.
I think the second time I was in Fan Zone, I mentioned veteran leadership is like lacking. They don't have anybody. Okay, Hanley's giving that, but you don't get the sense that he is reaching everybody. He's not a
yeah,
Right.
dynamic guy. He's the captain with the armband, but he's not a captain. He doesn't perform. They don't have any veteran leadership dude who's going to be your rah guy, and
I think Norman is the one that will be, but he's no on loan. But I
Right.
think if we bought him and bring him, definitely I think he will be this guy because he has passion. When the game ends against Brentford, he goes on his knees and starts to screaming, "Yeah!" We miss that.
Mhm.
And he is
Agreed.
not a Norwich player now. And he's like that. Imagine he being a Norwich player in full contract. For me, in January, we need to sign him in definitive because he has this passion. But I think
Right.
because he's in on loan for us, I think he is not able to be the captain. But in the team, the way he played, the way he expressed himself in the field, he looks like more the captain than Hanley. And I think one thing that puts Hanley back to this captain role is because Hanley is not decisive. He's not a decisive player for us. The contrary. Sometimes Hanley commit mistakes and decisive
Right.
mistakes. And I feel much more secure with Omobamidele and Gibson than Hanley. being one of those two players in our defense. So I think Norman has everything to be this new captain, this new leadership in our team.
Right. No, one guy we're obviously forgetting is Tim Krul. So Tim Krul really
Yeah,
sort of performs that, but to have the goalie be, I think it's kind of tough for
yeah,
the goalie to be the one who's out there, with everybody because you're the goalie. You're not really, with the outfield players
yeah,
and doing that. He's the guy that does it. I don't know, off the pitch and whatever. He's the guy, but you need someone that's not a goalie to
yeah.
take that role on.
Exactly. We need someone in the midfield, not
Right.
in players. Like I don't mean the position, but we need someone in the middle of the field to say something to the referee when he commits some mistakes. We need someone in the middle of the field to say for Pookie, "Hey Pookie, come on, wake up," or say to our defense, "Hey guys, come on, do not commit mistakes. Stay awake,
Right.
focus." And I think Norman will be this guy if
Right.
we contract him
Right.
for
Ideally, who was on the club before Norman, Kenny McLean, could
could
have if he wanted to, but I don't think he has the want to have that role on the club.
yeah
And he also makes too many weird mistakes.
yeah
It's one of those, oh, that was great. It's like, oh no, what are you doing? There's too many, where you're like, no, what was that? So you can't have someone who has, makes too many mistakes that wind up directly,
yeah
being goals and stuff like that. This morning, they asked me about the defense, and one of the subjects that came up was Kabak. That, well, he's young, he's aggressive, he wants to go forth a little too much, and the guys in the studio says, yeah, when you're the defender, you need to defend. You need to go forth so much. So that is, they basically said, that is a flaw in his game, that he wants to attack so much when his role is really to stop the attack. So I thought that was
yeah
an interesting take. Of course, I forgot who the other guy. I'd have to look it up. The host, and there was actually a retired player. So I would, and Darren Eady. So obviously, I give deference to people who actually have played, at the top level in England, what they think about, what a player can do or whatever. But that was, an interesting take. I mean, they're young at the back. They need support. They need other people. Big Andy, I think, has done phenomenal.
yeah he feels no pressure.
Mhm.
It's totally normal for him to play at Premier League level. No pressure, no mistakes, calm and precise.
Mhm.
I think we need more of that, and I think he passed to Gibson more security in this last game. And Gibson played also really well against Brentford. I
Mhm.
think those two players have a good connection in the
Yeah, agreed.
defense to keep going during the other matches.
Agreed. All right, Mark, you got to sign off.
Yeah, I got to call it a night, guys. I'm on vapors and I'm still having early morning practice. So
I've had a heck of a day myself with everything that was going on.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah,
Better you than me.
Oh God, it was. I have this project. I won't get into specifics, but it's one of those where all of a sudden, hey, we need answers now. It's just weird. All of a sudden, things will be slightly dormant. I'm pushing what this is, and then all of a sudden, it's like, we need this, and we're going to be briefing somebody on this day, and then it's just okay, fine, all right, fine. It's like it's
right. Well, I'm in the middle of pivoting, no pun intended, to basketball. So we have our first game on Thursday. So that's part of where my mind has been.
Yeah.
a lot of the time. So
So, Mark, if those of you Mark is this is the middle school.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mark
Junior
teaches science at a middle school in
Oh,
Texas, and Mark also is making extra money by agreeing to coach every sport possible at that middle school.
almost.
So
Almost.
he's trying to be the next Norwich manager. I got it.
Well,
no.
we are starting soccer. That's how I spent the weekend, was building our nets. So
There you go.
got that going. So anyway, I'm gonna bid you guys good night. Have a good night. Have a good week.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Mark.
And hopefully, here's the 3 points on Saturday.
On the ball,
That'd be
City.
great.
All right, later, guys.
All right, thanks, Mark. All right, so Luke, who else do you want to see? We're already past an hour, so let's see if we can wrap this up. What formation do you want to see? Do you want them to go back to 4-2-3-1? And who else do you want to see brought in besides Cantwell, Gilmore, and Sorensen? Is there any other players that you really want to see have a prominent role?
Good question. I think the formation. I think we need to stay with the 4-2-3-1 with Crew in the goal. The left back. I think Brandon Williams is doing a great job. I feel sad for John Ollis, but I think Williams is more prepared for Premier League than him. He's more offensive player than defensive, but I still prefer Williams. And right back Arons. In the defense, I choose Gibson and Omobamidele. So for the midfield, starting with the or two defensive midfielders, I want to see Sorensen playing with Norman, and the wingers I put Cantwell and Zolis. And for the number 10 role, Gilmore is what I want to see, but I think we will be seeing Plismelu in this position. And for the striker role, I think Tim Poke is the best one for us now. But in January, I think North will try to find another striker because Adanida is not like that striker. And the other sergeant is not like that striker too. It's always is not that number 9 striker too. So we miss some like a Jordan Ruggiu, on our bench at least, or someone to make Pookie feels like his position is not safe. He needs to work more to keep the position. So I don't know how much we'll be able to spend because we spent a lot in this window, but I'm looking forward to see someone for attack and maybe someone for center back too, just because Zimmerman is always in with problems with injuries, and I don't know, Hanley for me is kind of, I don't feel safe with Hanley, and Kabak is always receiving yellow cards, so that's that one. I like Kabak, but I think he needs to be more. Here in Brazil, we have an expression like malandragem. He needs to be more. He needs to know more the game. He commits so silly fouls, and it takes him some yellow card. That he was just needing to protect the ball, or just make a barrier for the player do not cross, and he tried to push the player or take him, and he needs more experience, more know-how of the game in the Premier League. I mean,
he's like 20, 21.
You say Kabak?
Yeah, Kabak, isn't he like?
I think he's 24. Let me see.
Are you look it up? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, he's young. It's of course people will always say it, and I'm.
Yeah, he's 21.
Like 21. Okay, well, he's 21. I'm not going to go there, but other people will always say, "Oh, people from this country, fill in name a country, are, you know, emotional or whatever, and they play, you know. I hate when they say that's like
Yeah.
very, very stereotypical and biased thing. But
Yeah.
I have heard people say, "Oh, because he's from where he's from, and this is how they play." You know, I hate, you know, saying that. But
Yeah.
I think you have a point that he's young. He still needs to figure out what's going on. He clearly has some offensive capabilities, you know, which is great. He has the size, he has the speed, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he's young. One thing that I had asked is like, okay, you know, with the recruitment, you know, they spent a lot of money. Where did they go wrong? So my take on that is that with Norwich's money, other than when they brought in Buendia, okay, and of course they got Pookie for free, they're not going for your top players. They're going for the sub tier of players. They're not
Hmm.
gonna, you know, get players that, you know, your top clubs around the world. You know, it's like, oh, we need a striker for Pookie. I don't know. Maybe Mbappe will come to the club. No, they're not going to get that. They're looking for sub-level players, looking for players that are playing in the top leagues around the world, but not for the top clubs. They're looking for them. They're also looking for potential. So
Yeah.
the guys they brought out, Norman is real. You know, Norman, you know, is the real deal. I've been impressed with him. He looks like he fits in fine in the Premier League. Rashica, last two matches much better. Looks like he
Much
fits.
better. Yeah.
It looks like he fits, and he belongs. What, he's had 2 assists now, because he assisted on the header, um, against, what was it, Leeds, and he's looked much better. But the rest of the guys, they're like brought in for potential. It's like for the NBA draft.
Hmm.
Sometimes you draft someone that, all right, we know this guy's going to come in and play, or, well, he may not play, but 2 years down the road, this guy's going to be a stud. They have a lot of those 2 years down the road, this guy is going to be a stud, and they've brought them in and trying to improve. So they have a mixture of guys that were good in the championship, a few that have established themselves in the Premier League, and a few that have the potential to do it. And that's why they're struggling so much. And then you have some of the more creative players that aren't getting any time. You know, Cantwell and Gilmore just aren't getting any time. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forth, yeah, and who their best is going to be. But you know, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what Dean Smith's going to do. Hopefully, he, you know, has already figured out who he thinks his best players are going
Yeah.
in. I mean, he hasn't even been announced yet officially, right? He signed the contract. I assume tomorrow will be the announcement day. You know, where they do
Probably. Yeah.
all the pictures and, you know, the cute videos and things like that. I was hoping to snag some of that. I thought maybe he'd be interviewed and we can have a quote, and didn't have that because he was in New York. His son plays for NC State in soccer. Yeah, that was nice that he did that. I when I learned that, I didn't know that's why he went over there. So the fact that he wanted to make sure he visited his son, I appreciated. You know, that he did that, so that, you know, bumped them up a notch, for me, with respect. But I don't know who's going to be playing. You know,
Yeah.
we just hope that it's guys who are out that want to play. They're going to play, you know, fast with creativity, and let's hope we get the new manager bump that so many teams get. You know, and they're playing at home. The next two are at home, so it'd be nice. Next two at home, and then they play Saudi Arabia Light, right, or whatever. Yeah, Newcastle.
Yeah. I
Is
think.
Newcastle a third?
I think after Southampton, you say. Let
Yeah,
me
I don't have
see.
the schedule up with me.
I have it here. After Southampton, with oh, okay. After Southampton, we have Wolverhampton at
Mhm.
2 games at Carrow Road,
Right.
and then we have Newcastle
Then we have Newcastle. Right. And that'll
in
be
St James Park.
there'll be a relegation scrap. New managers going
Yeah,
against
yeah, we need to win these matches. We
each other.
need.
Well, that would be interesting because of the money disparity between who owns Newcastle and who owns Norwich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think okay, Chelsea got success on his club. Uh, PSG, it's kind of the owner of the league.
Mhm.
Who will be playing against PSG and winning the Ligue 1. Okay, we have Lille. Don't I think Lille did that, but it's so great the difference of PSG of other clubs, even
Right.
Olympique Marseille don't
Mhm.
get it. So it's easier for them. Also, Manchester City, how many years take to Manchester City starting to compete in higher level, winning titles? For Newcastle, I think will be 3 times harder the job because it's not just put the money and the points are taken. I think they need to recreate the philosophy behind the club that I didn't know what it is, the style of player that they like to bought. Uh, and I don't know. I see Newcastle struggling with these changes. I don't know if they will go berserk and in January bring everyone that they want. I think it's not like that because for example, Mbappe will go into Newcastle. Okay, they have the money, but look
Mhm.
Newcastle now. You really think Mbappe will leave PSG
No.
to go to Newcastle
No.
with so many difficulties?
Right.
He will never do that.
Yeah.
It's easier Zidane go to Manchester United and bring Mbappe for free in the next season.
Mhm.
It's easier that happening than
Right. Yeah.
Newcastle brings some
But
player like that.
I like that you picked up on the Mbappe because like he's only gonna if he's gonna move, he's only going to the top clubs. If
Yeah,
even Newcastle United is like, hey, we're gonna give you a lot of money. It's like, why would I want to go there? What history do you have? What's cool for me living in that area? Yeah, I don't think so. It's players that they're used to playing at a high level in interesting metropolitan areas. I think it's a very hard sell some of the more industrial cities in England.
yeah,
So they'll be able to bring in good players, just not your super elite superstars that are used to, like was it lifestyles that are rich and famous or something like. They're just not going to get. Same thing with Norwich. You're not going to be able to get players like that. But I think it'd be interesting to see, what structure he's going to come up with um, when they play, and hopefully some of the players that have really not played will be there. But with him not having the opportunity to train a whole lot, I can't see it being vastly different for the Southampton match than what's there. Maybe Cantwell comes in. Hopefully he does. But I can't see, the big change. Like you have very interesting change in formation with the players that might happen, but he's not going to have enough time to figure out, hey, Lucas has this idea. Let's practice this for 2 days and see if this is workable. He doesn't have those 2 days. So,
yeah,
yeah, any of the big changes that, we might think could happen just aren't going to, you know, for,
yeah.
for Southampton.
I think I changed 3 players. I think it was I put Ashika off for Cantwell, I put Dowell off for Solis, and I think was Melu who
You,
played, and
you
I
move you
put
move you move Lee Smalou up to the middle, and then you want Sorensen
yeah,
with Norman.
yes, and I put McLean off too. I
Yeah.
think, and the defense and the goalkeeper were the same. Was not so much changes. but I understand that for
We'll see.
just 2 days for training
Yeah.
is
He's not gonna
really
have a
too much.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's not gonna. That's the issue. He's not gonna have a whole lot. We'll see what happens. I'm sure he has an idea of what the best players are to put out there. But I think you're going to see a different formation than we've seen all year. A different group of
yeah,
guys out
yeah,
there. Yeah, and hopefully it's going. Because the last two matches they went back to the 4-2-3-1 with the attacking. And it worked. They look so much better. They look more competitive. They look like, okay, this is what we want to see. And so I thought that Fark is, oh, look, they did better. They almost won. They won. Great. We got the momentum going. They're like, nah, you got drilled 7-0 by Chelsea. There were other
yeah,
matches where you just weren't competitive. You don't seem like you get what's going on. The fans all want you out.
yeah. It was so much pressure. And,
Mhm.
it's really difficult to be in the manager role when things that you try to change, you tried
Right.
everything and didn't work. Sometimes it is just like that. Nothing works. And and I think this victory against Brentford just happened not because Fark does not have impact. He really has, but I think was kind of lucky because he was never he can't put three defensive players in this match because Hanley was injured, I think,
Yeah.
and Kabak was with suspended.
Suspended. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there is no choice there. So he needs to put in the normal formation of Norwich City that we are
Mhm.
used to play. So I think was kind of you have no choice. You need to play like we used to do, and works. So maybe he was changing so much that was losing some characteristics of Norwich,
Mhm.
and that's why it was not working.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Sargent's role will be going forth because Sargent reminds me a little bit of Harry Kane, not Harry Kane in the striker role, but Harry Kane in the creator role where he's got the pass and he sees like Kane hooks up with Son so well. So
Mhm.
his role of hooking up and then tracking back and playing defensively, he has some of the aspects of how Kane plays. You know, I like that. Can he develop into a striker? I don't know yet. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
I don't know yet, but I've seen some of the energy and some of the things, that the non-striker things that Kane does. I think Sargent has those attributes. He's certainly
Yeah,
not Harry Kane, but he brings those attributes, and I think that's helpful. Also, I don't think he's going to take any crap out there. You get the sense that he's just like, oh, you don't like me because I have red hair? Yeah, bring it on, buddy. I just get the sense
yeah,
that he's not going to take any crap. That if
yeah.
needed, he would get into a scuffle or something. You get the sense that he's mentally strong and also physically strong.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
just my impression.
Yeah. Maybe Sargent. The best position for him is playing like the second attacker or striker, playing behind Pookie, like Hulahan was playing
Mhm.
with Holt.
Right.
It's not a number 10, but
Mhm.
it's almost the same in some skills. Maybe it works because in the sides of the field, he kind of develops, but also thinks needs something else. Playing as a striker, I don't know. I don't feel him like a striker. Adanida the same. I don't see Adanida. He has that Ibrahimovic size. He
Right.
has that Ibrahimovic style, but he does not look like to be the number 9 for Pookie if Pookie leaves or cannot play some
Mhm.
matches. So it's really strange. We have many attackers, but we don't know who will be the perfect reserve for Pookie
Right.
or to play with
Well,
Pookie.
don't they have a couple guys on loan? Like Sinani is a
Yeah,
striker, and there's somebody else that wasn't it like an American guy that was a striker that's on loan somewhere?
Sebastian Soto.
Thank you, Soto. Yeah, he's played with the
Yeah.
American team a little bit. So those are guys that I thought would play. Yeah, thanks for reminding. I was going to say City.
Yeah.
I know that's not right. Yeah, because he
City
played.
was defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
I think he's on loan too.
yeah. So those are guys who I thought would play, but they put him out on loan, and I think they're both doing okay. I'd have to look and see
Yeah.
what's going on.
Soto is on Porto B.
Porto B.
So
Okay.
yeah, I really don't know how he's doing that, but I really was thinking that Soto will be that his time on Norwich, because he was doing really great on the national team.
Yeah, actually, he scored two goals. It wasn't like I think it was a just a friendly. I don't think it wasn't the qualification. He's not part of the team now, so they put him in there. I was like, okay, he did well. That's great. And then where did he go? So who knows? All right, let's wrap this up here. We're already at a minute, not a minute, and an hour 25. So thank very much our new friend, the brilliant Brazilian Canary, Lucas La Torre.
Was a pleasure. It's always really great to meet and speak with other Norwich fans. Every time that you need a Brazilian Canary, talk to me.
Well, we'll put your and for those of you who are listening, of course, if you're not listening, then you can't hear this. I've been on the fan zone now 4 times in 3 weeks, and we're trying to expand who else gets on the show. So contact us some way, shape, or form, especially contact Jeff and Mark if you're interested in being on the Premier League Fan Zone. We will provide the information to them and try to get as many AmeriCanaries on as possible when they're looking for people to talk. Because, I mean, I enjoy doing it, but it shouldn't just be me doing it. And there's going to be certain times when I said, yeah, I can't do, a 9 o'clock thing. It's fun. I enjoy the attention. I'm a bit of a ham, but there's plenty of other people who have very good analytical skills, who are fans who have a lot to say, and we want to get everybody out there and give them, the opportunity to, be out there and be on the international show, and wake up early also. For those of you, for those of you on the West Coast, man, let me tell you, when I had to be on the show 6:30 on Friday, I don't know if the West Coast people want to do 3:30 on Friday, on a Friday morning. That was brutal.
And if you are Brazilian and are listening it and is an Norwich fan, talk to me, because I have no more stories to tell to ESPN. ESPN Brazil. They don't want me anymore. I'm trying to pick other Brazilian Canaries to appear to. There is no fan zone, such a thing, but sometimes they try to make some interviews with us, mostly on for articles in the websites, or quickly videos on during the halftime. But it's a thing here in Brazil too. I try to pick more people, because it's not only me; it's the Brazilians Canaries.
Right.
So we need more. It's cool to see new stories about our club.
Right, and so those of you who've gotten in Jeff's little globe, AmeriCanaries is the Americas. Okay, so we've now had guests from Toronto, from where was he was in Southern California, but he's originally from Liverpool. Now Lucas from Rio. So we now need find someone in Central America. We need to find people, in the Caribbean.
I know they're out there. I mean,
Bring Gano Hernandez.
Sure.
That's right.
We'll reach out to Onel Hernandez. So let's wrap it up. We're already at an hour and a half here. This will be a long one, but I knew it was going to be long. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to cut everybody off, and I really appreciate
it was really great.
On. Like I said, it's been a long day for me, and that's a long day for everybody. hopefully next time that you're all listening, we'll have 3 points to celebrate and some players that we haven't seen before playing.
Yeah.
And so thanks everybody so much. Hope if we do one next week, kiddos, we'll see, because we're trying to record these on Monday night and then it goes out on Tuesday. That just seems to work with everyone's schedule here. All right, thank you so much for listening. Thanks to Lucas, thanks to Jeff, and thanks to our early departee, Mark Foster. This was AmeriCanaries podcast number 6. We'll come up with the title when I'll have whatever the title is. You'll see it. All right. Thanks everybody, and have a great night.
Good night, Lucas. Take care.